The starship Curiosity arc moved slowly through the dark space near the edge of the Nebula Verta. Inside the ship, Captain Marcus Venn sat in the command chair. He watched the main screen carefully. The crew had found a strange signal coming from deep inside the nebula. It was a weak, repeating signal. It sounded like someone calling for help. Marcus was a calm and thoughtful man. He had led many missions before, but this signal was different. It was small and quiet, but it seemed very old. The signal had no name or code. It only repeated one simple message over and over in a language no one recognized. "Where is it coming from?" Marcus asked the science officer, Lieutenant Kaya. Kaya pointed to a point on the screen. "About 50 light hours inside the nebula, Captain. The signal is very weak, but it is steady. Something is there, waiting." The nebula was dangerous. Thick clouds of gas and dust could damage the ship's instruments or engines. Many crews had avoided this area before, but Marcus knew that if someone was calling for help, it was their duty to try to save them. "Prepare the ship for close approach," Marcus said. "We will find whoever is sending that signal." The crew moved quickly. The ship's engines slowed. Sensors scanned the area carefully. Slowly, the Curiosity arc moved closer to the source. After hours of careful movement, the ship's sensors picked up something strange. It was a small object, floating silently in space. It looked like a pod, about the size of a small car. It was old, covered in scratches and marks from traveling through space for a long time. "Captain, we have something," Kaya said, her voice full of surprise. "It looks like an escape pod." Marcus frowned. Escape pods were used by many species to leave a dangerous place quickly, but this pod was very different from any known design. "Can we open it?" Marcus asked. "Not yet," Kaya replied. "The pod's outer shell is made from a material I don't recognize. Our scanners cannot tell what is inside." Marcus looked at the pod's faint lights blinking slowly. Then he gave the order. "Open the pod," slowly and carefully. The engineering team prepared the ship's tools to open the pod without damaging it. After tense moments, the pod's hatch opened with a quiet hiss. Inside the pod was a woman. She looked human in shape, but her skin was different. It was pale and seemed to shine softly, like light inside a crystal. Her hair moved as if it were alive, slowly changing colors from blue to green. She was unconscious and breathing very weakly. "Medic, report," Marcus called. The ship's doctor, Lieutenant Aaron, came quickly. He examined the woman and nodded. "She is alive but very weak. Her body has strange energy readings I have never seen before." They carried her to the medical bay. The whole crew watched quietly. They had never seen anything like her. Marcus stood near her bed. He felt something in the air, a deep sadness, but also hope. This woman was lost, and they had found her. The woman's eyes opened slowly. They were large and bright, with colors that shifted like the rest of her skin. She looked at Marcus and whispered in a soft, strange voice, "Please, don't leave me." Her words were hard to understand, but Marcus felt their meaning clearly. "Who are you?" he asked gently. She closed her eyes again, trying to remember. When she opened them, she spoke a few strange words that the ship's AI recorded. Over. The next days, the crew worked hard to learn her language. The AI translated slowly. The woman's name was Scifi. She said she came from a distant star system. Her people, called the Lithari, were known for their ability to change their shape and appearance. Scifi told the crew that she was part of a peace mission, but her own government betrayed her. They left her to die because she knew too much. Marcus listened carefully. He felt respect for her courage. Even though she was different, her pain was very real. Scifi watched the crew closely. She learned how to mimic their expressions and actions. She smiled when they smiled and looked sad when they were worried. It was her way of connecting. One evening, Marcus found Scifi in the observation room. She was looking out at the stars, her skin glowing softly. "Why did you not give up?" Marcus asked. Scifi turned to him, her eyes shining. "Because I have seen what humans can do. You never give up on each other, you fight for hope." Marcus smiled. Maybe that is why we found you. As the Curiosity Ark prepared to leave the nebula, the crew felt a new mission. They would protect Scifi, learn from her, and show her what humanity truly meant. But far away in the shadows of space, someone was watching. The story of the abandoned alien woman had only just begun. The medical bay was quiet except for the soft beeping of the monitors. Scifi lay on the bed, still weak but slowly growing stronger. Captain Marcus Venn stood nearby, watching her carefully. The crew had never met anyone like her before. She was an alien, yes, but there was something more. Something fragile yet full of hope. The ship's AI worked day and night trying to understand Scifi's language. It was unlike any human language or the common galactic codes. It had strange sounds and shifting tones, like music. Slowly, the AI learned enough to help the crew talk with her. One morning, Scifi's eyes fluttered open. This time, she looked around the room with more awareness. She saw Marcus and whispered, "Please, don't leave me." Marcus nodded gently. "We won't. You're safe here." Scifi tried to sit up, but her body was weak. Lieutenant Arun, the ship's doctor, helped her lie back down comfortably. "You need to rest," he said kindly. Over the next few days, Scifi began to recover. She ate the food the ship provided, but it was strange to her. She watched the crew eat and learned quickly. Her skin changed colors in small waves, reacting to her emotions, blue when calm, soft pink when happy. Scifi's story came out slowly, in broken sentences and careful words. She said she was part of a diplomatic mission from her homeworld, a distant star system called Lithara. The Lithari were a peaceful people who valued knowledge and connection. But something terrible had happened. Scifi's government had turned against her. She knew secrets they wanted to hide. For this, they abandoned her on the edge of the nebula, hoping she would never return. Her voice was soft but firm as she spoke. "They think my gift is weakness, but I know it is strength." Marcus listened, feeling a deep respect for Scifi's courage. She was alone in the universe, but she still held on to hope. One afternoon, Scifi sat with the crew in the ship's common room. She watched the humans talk, laugh, and share stories. She noticed how they cared for each other, even when times were hard. Scifi tried to smile. She moved her hands in the way the humans did and copied their expressions. It was a slow, careful dance of learning. Lieutenant Kaya sat beside her and said, "You're doing well, Scifi. We want to help you." Scifi's skin glowed softly. "Thank you. I want to understand your world." Marcus decided to introduce Scifi to some of Earth's history and culture. He brought her books, music, and even films. Scifi was fascinated. One night, Marcus found Scifi watching an old human movie. The story was about people who never gave up no matter the danger. "Why do you like this story?" Marcus asked. Scifi smiled faintly. "Because it is like me. I was lost, but I keep trying." Marcus felt a connection growing between them. Scifi was more than an alien guest. She was becoming part of the crew's life. But Scifi was also afraid. She knew that her enemies might come for her. She whispered one night to Marcus, "I am not safe. They will find me." Marcus placed a hand on her shoulder. "We will protect you. No one here will walk away." The crew began to work, with Scifi to learn her skills. The Lithari had abilities humans did not understand. Scifi could change her shape slightly, mimic voices, and sense emotions deeply. With practice, she taught the crew how to read feelings through small changes in appearance. This new knowledge helped the team work better together. Scifi was especially close to Lieutenant Arun, who admired her strength and kindness. They spent hours talking about healing and life. One day, the ship's sensors detected a new signal. It was strong and close, another Lithari ship. The mood on the Curiosity Ark changed. The crew prepared for what might come next. Scifi looked out the window, her skin pulsing softly with nervous energy. "They are coming." Marcus met her eyes. "We face it together." That night, As the stars moved silently outside, Salery whispered once more, "Thank you for not walking away." The Curiosity Ark floated quietly through space, its crew filled with a mix of hope and tension. Salery's presence was no longer just a mystery. She was part of their daily lives. The ship buzzed with activity, but everyone felt the weight of what might come. Salery was learning faster than anyone expected. Every day she watched the humans closely. She copied their small actions, the way they laughed, the way they comforted each other, even how they argued and made up. To her, these were new ways to connect, to belong. One afternoon in the ship's common room, Salery sat near the engineers. She watched them work, fascinated by their tools and teamwork. Her skin shimmered gently as she listened. Lieutenant Jorah, the chief engineer, noticed her interest. "Want to try?" she asked, holding out a small device. Salery looked hesitant, but nodded. Carefully, she took the tool and mimicked Jorah's movements. She was slow at first, but soon she smiled, a real smile that lit her glowing skin. The engineers chuckled and welcomed her warmly. For the first time, Salery felt she was more than a guest. She was becoming part of the crew. Captain Marcus watched this with quiet pride. Humanity was known for its strength and courage, but it was moments like this, simple kindness, that showed its true power. Salery had a special way of learning emotions. Because her people, the Lithari, could change their shape and color based on feelings, she understood the small changes in human faces and voices better than most. One evening, Salery sat with Lieutenant Kaya and Marcus in the observation room. The stars stretched endlessly outside the windows. "I see your world is full of feelings," Salery said softly. "Sometimes they are loud, sometimes quiet, but always real." Marcus nodded. "Humans have many ways to show what they feel, sometimes with words, sometimes with actions." Salery's skin flickered blue, the color for calm. "Your feelings help you fight and heal. You do not hide. That is strong." The conversation deepened their bond. Marcus realized that Salery was not only learning from humans, she was teaching them too. Her ability to sense emotions with such depth helped the crew understand each other better. At night, Salery would watch the stars and think of her home planet Lithara. She missed her family and the peace they once had, but she also felt something new, hope. Maybe with these humans she could find a new family. However, not everyone was comfortable. Some crew members worried about the risks Salery brought. Lieutenant Rin, the security officer, often voiced concern. "She could be a spy," Rin said in a meeting. "We don't know what her people want." Marcus listened, but trusted his crew to be careful. "Salery is not just an alien. She is someone who needs us, and who chooses to stand with us." One day, Salery surprised everyone. She asked Marcus, "What does it mean to be human?" Marcus thought for a moment. "It means to care, to protect others, even when it's hard, to keep hope alive." Salery smiled faintly. "I want to be like that." The crew decided to give Salery a place among them. They shared their meals, stories, and routines. She was no longer just an alien visitor. She was part of their journey. The ship's AI, with Salery's help, began studying Lithari technology. Salery taught them about her people's shape-changing abilities, emotional connections, and advanced energy systems. Together, they worked on improving the ship's defenses, knowing the Lithari Empire might come searching. Salery's favorite place became the observation deck. She loved to watch the stars and listen to human music. She especially liked songs about courage and friendship. One evening, Marcus found her humming a quiet tune. "You've come a long way," he said kindly. Salery looked at him with bright eyes. "You showed me what it means to live, to hope." But even as she grew stronger, Salery never forgot the fear. She knew the Empire's scouts were near. The signal from earlier was a warning. The Curiosity Ark was no longer just a ship, it was a target. As the ship moved deeper into space, the crew prepared for what might come. They were ready to protect Salery and face whatever the future held. Salery whispered to Marcus, You are my strength now. I will be anything you want. Just don't walk away." Marcus smiled. "We won't." The stars outside twinkled quietly, but inside the Curiosity Ark a new kind of light was shining, a light born from trust, courage, and the hope of a new beginning. The quiet hum of the Curiosity Ark was suddenly broken by the sharp sound of the ship's alarm. Lights flashed, red across the bridge. Captain Marcus Venn stood quickly, eyes focused on the main screen. Lieutenant Kaya's voice came through clearly. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission. It's from a Lethari scout ship. They are close and they want to speak." Marcus motioned for the message to be shown. The screen flickered, and an image appeared. A tall figure stood inside a strange ship, shapes shifting around its walls, soft glowing light moving like waves. The figure's face was hard to see clearly, but the voice was cold and firm. "You harbor a traitor," the message said. "Return her or face the consequences." The crew held their breath. The word traitor echoed in the room. Marcus stepped forward. "We found her abandoned. We will not hand her over without cause." The Lethari transmission ended with a quiet warning. "We watch. Do not test us." The bridge was silent for a moment. Then Lieutenant Rin spoke. "Captain, this could mean war." Marcus shook his head. "We do not want war, but we will not betray someone who has trusted us." In the medical bay, Scifi sat quietly. Her skin pulsed softly, showing her worry. She looked at Marcus with trust and sadness. "They want me back," she whispered. "To punish me." Marcus reached out gently. "You are safe here. We will face this together." The crew began preparing. The engineers strengthened the ship's shields. The security team trained for defense. But Marcus also called for a meeting. "We must try to talk first," he said. "This is not just about Scifi. It is about what we stand for." Scifi joined the meeting. She spoke with quiet strength. "My people fear what I represent. They do not understand that being different is not weak." Her words moved many on the ship. Lieutenant Kaya nodded. "We will protect you. You are part of this crew now." Days passed, and the tension grew. The Lethari scout ship stayed close, watching, waiting. The Curiosity Ark moved cautiously through the nebula's edge. One night, Scifi sat with Marcus in the observation room. She looked out at the stars, her skin glowing softly. "Do you think they will attack?" she asked. Marcus looked at her, steady and calm. "I don't know, but I believe in our strength, in our hope." Scifi smiled faintly. "You make me believe too." Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up something new. More ships were approaching, several Lethari vessels moving fast. The bridge filled with activity. The captain gave orders calmly. "Prepare for contact. No weapons unless fired upon." The Lethari ships surrounded the Curiosity Ark. From their ships, figures appeared on the comms, stern faces, strong voices. One commander spoke. "Scifi, return with us now. You will answer for your betrayal." Scifi took a deep breath. "I will not return. Not as a prisoner." The commander's voice hardened. "Then you leave us no choice." Marcus stepped forward. "This ship stands by Scifi. She is under our protection." The tension was thick. But Marcus made a decision. "We want peace. We want to show you that she is safe and that your people can learn from each other." To everyone's surprise, the Lethari commander agreed to a meeting. No weapons, no threats. The Curiosity Ark and the Lethari flagship moved close. In a neutral space station nearby, talks began. Scifi spoke openly about her mission and her hope for peace. She told her story without fear. The Lethari listened, some with anger, some with doubt. Marcus spoke of humanity's belief in second chances and trust. Slowly, the talks changed. The Lethari began to see Scifi not as a traitor, but as a bridge, someone who could connect two very different worlds. After hours, the Lethari commander stood and said, "We will watch. But for now, we will not attack." The Curiosity Ark and the Lethari ships parted slowly. Back on the ship, the crew cheered quietly. Salary smiled, tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "You did not walk away." Marcus smiled. "We never will." The stars outside shone brightly, and for the first time Salary felt a new hope, not just for herself, but for all of them. The Curiosity Ark moved steadily away from the neutral space station where the talks had taken place. The crew felt a mix of relief and tension. They had avoided war for now, but everyone knew the future was uncertain. Captain Marcus Venn gathered his officers in the conference room. Salary sat quietly among them, her skin shifting soft shades of blue and green, a sign she was calm but alert. "We've seen their ships," Marcus began. "The Lethari Empire is watching us closely. They are powerful and proud, but they do not yet understand what humanity truly is." Lieutenant Kaya leaned forward. "They see Salary as a traitor. They don't see that she made a choice. For freedom, for peace." Marcus nodded. "Exactly. Our next steps are important. We must protect Salrai, yes. But more than that, we must show the Lethari that humans value trust and courage." The crew discussed their options. Some feared the Lethari would return with more ships or try to capture Salrai again. Others believed that kindness and understanding were stronger than weapons. Salrai spoke softly. "I want to help. I want to teach you what my people know, about connection, about changing, about feeling deeply. But I also want to learn from you." The idea was clear: to build a true alliance, not a simple truce. For weeks, the crew worked with Salary. She taught them about her people's abilities, the way they could change shape and color to show feelings, how they connected with others through subtle changes. Salary's lessons helped the crew understand each other better. Conflicts became fewer. Trust grew. Marcus watched with pride. Humanity's greatest strength was not in weapons or technology, but in its heart, the ability to care and to forgive. Meanwhile, the engineers worked with Salary to improve the Curiosity Ark. Using Lethari knowledge, they upgraded the ship's shields and energy systems. The ship became stronger, ready for any challenge. Salary also spent time with Lieutenant Arun, the ship's doctor. They talked about healing, both of bodies and hearts. Arun learned new techniques from Salary, and she learned from him. One day, while working together in the medical bay, Salary asked, "Why do humans keep hope even when things are hard?" Arun smiled gently. "Because hope is what helps us survive. It's the light we carry inside." Salary nodded. "I want to carry that light." But the peace was fragile. The crew knew the Lethari Empire could return. Salary warned them. "They do not trust easily. They may test us." Marcus agreed. "Then we will be ready. Not with fear, but with strength and respect." The crew trained harder, but they also spent time sharing stories and music. Salary's favorite moments were when they sang songs of courage and friendship. One evening, Marcus found Salary in the observation room. The stars stretched endlessly before them. "Do you miss home?" Marcus asked. Salary looked at the stars, her skin glowing softly. "I do, but I have found a new hope here." Marcus smiled. "And we're lucky to have you with us." Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up a signal, different from before. It was a peaceful message from the Lethari Empire. They wanted to open talks. They wanted to understand humanity better. Marcus gathered the crew. "This is our chance. We must show them who we are." Salary looked at Marcus with hope. "Together, we will build something new." The Curiosity Ark turned toward the new coordinates, ready to meet the future. As the stars moved past, Salary whispered quietly, "I said I would be anything you wanted, but now I know. I want to be someone real." Marcus replied, "You already are." And so, humanity decided to stand strong, to protect the lost, and to reach out with open hearts, no matter the stars between them. The Curiosity Ark moved steadily toward the meeting point. The ship's crew was ready, but there was tension in the air. Salary sat quietly in the observation room, her skin glowing soft shades of blue and green. She was calm, but aware of what was coming. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. The Lithari fleet was waiting, silent, powerful, and watchful. Captain Marcus Venn stood on the bridge, his eyes steady on the approaching ships. He had prepared his crew well. Weapons were ready, but he hoped they would not be needed. A message came through the comms. The Lithari commander spoke with a firm voice. "We have come for Sailry. She must return with us." Marcus replied calmly, "She is under our protection. We want peace. We ask you to meet us, not fight." There was silence. Then the commander agreed to send representatives for a meeting. In the neutral space station chosen for talks, Sailry and Marcus waited. The room was simple but filled with quiet tension. The Lithari representatives arrived, strong, proud beings who seemed unsure of what to expect. Sailry stood tall. "I am here to speak as myself, not as a traitor but as someone who believes in peace." The talks began slowly. The Lithari asked many questions. Sailry answered honestly, telling her story of betrayal, hope, and the kindness she found with humans. Marcus spoke about humanity's values, courage, trust, and the power of second chances. At times, the conversation was difficult. Some Lithari did not want to listen, but Sailry's sincerity touched many hearts. One Lithari elder finally said, "Your people show strength not through power but through their spirit." We see now that Sailry's choice was brave. The meeting ended with no final decision, but with a new understanding. As the representatives left, Marcus turned to Sailry. "You were brave today. You showed them who you are." Sailry smiled softly. "I was scared, but I am no longer alone." Back on the Curiosity Ark, the crew welcomed Sailry warmly. They had faced fear together and come through stronger, but the future was still uncertain. The Lithari Empire had not fully accepted Sailry's choice. They were watching, waiting for a sign. Marcus gathered the crew. "We must continue to build trust, to show that strength comes from kindness and courage." Sailry looked at him, her skin glowing with hope. "I will stand with you." Days passed. The Curiosity Ark moved through space, carrying a message of hope. Sailry worked with the crew, sharing her knowledge and learning more about humanity. One evening, as the stars shone brightly, Sailry whispered to Marcus, "I told you I would be anything you want. But now I know I want to be real, I want to belong." Marcus smiled gently. "You already do." The ship sailed on, a small beacon of light in the vast darkness. Together, humans and Sailry faced the future, ready for whatever came next. The Curiosity Ark sailed through the endless stars, carrying with it a new hope. Sailry had become more than a visitor. She was part of the crew, part of their family. Her skin shimmered softly in the dim light of the ship, a quiet sign of her calm and growing happiness. Captain Marcus Venn stood on the bridge looking out at the stars. He thought about everything they had faced: the signal from the nebula, Sailry's rescue, the arrival of the Lithari ships, and the difficult talks. It had not been easy, but they had made it this far. Sailry joined him quietly. "Captain," she said, her voice soft, "I want to thank you. You and your crew saved me, not just from space, but from loneliness." Marcus smiled. "You saved us too, Sailry. You taught us to see beyond fear, to believe in hope." Sailry's skin glowed gently, changing colors with her emotions. "I promised I would be anything you want. But now I know I want to be just me." Marcus looked at her with kindness. "You already are." That night, Sailry went to the observation room. She stood before the great window, watching the stars drift by. She thought of her home planet, far away and silent in the darkness. She whispered to the stars, "I was lost, but now I am found. Home is where someone stays." The crew had grown close, sharing meals, stories, and laughter. Sailry often joined them, no longer trying to imitate or fit in, but simply being herself. Lieutenant Kaya watched Sailry one day and said, "You have taught us more than you know. You showed us that being different is a strength. Scifi smiled. Your kindness gave me courage. As the days passed, the Curiosity Ark continued its mission, exploring new stars and new worlds. Scifi was no longer afraid. She had found a place where she belonged, but space was vast and full of unknowns. The Lethari Empire remained watching, waiting for what might come next. One morning, a new message arrived. It was from the Lethari Council. They acknowledged Scifi's choice to stay with humanity and asked for peace talks to continue. The crew celebrated quietly. It was a small step, but a step forward. Marcus gathered the team. We have shown them our strength, the strength of trust and hope. This is only the beginning. Scifi looked around at her new family. I will stand with you wherever the stars take us. The ship sailed on, shining like a beacon in the dark sea of space. Together, humans and Scifi faced the future, not as strangers, but as friends. And in the quiet moments, Scifi would whisper, I'll be anything you want. But now, I just want to be real. Marcus smiled softly. You already are. The stars outside shone brightly, and for the first time, Scifi felt truly at home.